Hey guys, welcome to Comics Pull List, the show where we discuss some of the biggest new comics to come out this month. This special episode will be reviewing the Batman Catwoman wedding in Batman number 50. Because of the size of the book and the hype around it, I thought it was appropriate to focus on this book alone. Remember to show some support to the creative team behind the book and pick it up at your local comic book shop, Comixology, or through the links below on Amazon. Don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Let's not waste any more time and get right into the book. Batman number 50, the result of 49 issues by writer Tom King and a slew of big-name artists, is the long-awaited wedding of Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle. Was it everything we thought it'd be? Let's find out and jump right into the book. Batman number 50 opens up with the Dark Knight doing what he does best. Beating up Kite Man? Or at least that's what King thinks. After months of build up to the wedding, he asks Selina then and there if she wants to get married that very same night. Batman reasons that all they need are a judge and 2 witnesses, one of which they could each bring. She agrees, as Kite Man mutters out one more, hell yeah. As the issue continues, it switches between letters that Bruce and Selina had written to each other, with backdrops illustrated by some of the biggest and best in comics. The narrative alternates between the letters and what is going on in the present day. At Porky's Bar, introduced in Batman Elmer Fudd, also by King, the alcoholic Judge Wolfman is drinking himself into oblivion when Batman appears to secure him to officiate the wedding, in weak hopes that he won't remember he just wed the richest man in Gotham. One of the common themes in King's Batman run is reminiscing of the Bat and Cat's first meeting, which the two of them remember differently. Bruce recalls their first meeting in the Golden Age of comics, where the two met on a boat as Catwoman was in the middle of a jewelry heist. In contrast, Selina remembers meeting in a street fight during Bruce's first night out fighting crime during Frank Miller's Year One. Throughout the letters, both Bruce and Selina use each other's eyes as a metaphor to express how they view one another. Batman reasons that although Catwoman always shows her eyes, she has a mystery behind her, and that his keen ability as a detective is what keeps him seeing the best in her. In contrast, Catwoman expresses that he has the blue eyes of a hero, but they're not what they should be. Back in the present, Bruce and Selina are on separate sides of Wayne Manor with their chosen witnesses. Selina has chosen her only friend, Holly Robinson, whom is introduced as a young girl in Batman Year One and has played a big role in King's Batman run so far. Bruce, on the other hand, chooses Alfred, in what turns out to be my favorite scene in the whole book. The beauty of this scene comes in the fact that even though Bruce genuinely believes that Alfred is the obvious choice to be there for him at his wedding, having gone through everything together, Bruce is oblivious to how his unaffectionate nature would cause Alfred to second guess, resulting in an incredibly heartfelt moment between what is essentially father and son. In his letter, Bruce emphasizes the wide variety of color in Selina's eyes to represent all of the different parts of her that are consistently at war with one another, settling to what blends into her personality. She leaves her eyes open to deceive those around her, making the world believe in something that isn't real. In regards to himself, he says that he fights with his eyes covered by white lenses so that criminals and strangers can only see the bat, while the man stays hidden. Having said that, Selina believes that the blue eyes of a hero are flawed by life, whereas children's are pure. When she looks at Bruce, she searches for flaws in the eyes, but comes up short with pure blue, stating that Bruce's crusade is nothing more than a boy in pain, longing not to be alone. He fights for his city as a man looking upon the world with the eyes of a child. But what's special is that he takes his loneliness and turns it into an engine of hope. Back in the Englehart room of Wayne Manor, Holly begins to plant seeds of doubt in Selina about the marriage. She begs the question if whether or not Bruce's happiness will be what kills the bat, forcing Selina to consider whether or not their happiness is worth the safety of Gotham. As the sky hits dawn, we find Selina alone, atop Kane Plaza crying, as she throws down her veil and jumps off into the night. At the very same time, Bruce along with Alfred and the intoxicated judge stand on the rooftops where they were to meet for the wedding. Alfred suggests that something may have come up, as Bruce in his pain jumps off into the lonely night. As the issue closes out, we follow Holly down a hall in Arkham Asylum. As she walks off panel, we learn that she's harbored resentment towards Selina for putting her in jail for the mass murders she's committed. Holly arrives at some unknown location in the asylum where the puppet master behind everything is revealed to be Bane. Behind him, a cabal of characters used by Tom King throughout his Batman run. We soon learn that everything in the run that could have possibly planted seeds of doubt in Selina about the wedding was orchestrated by Bane in order to break the bat once and for all. So that pretty much wraps up Batman issue 50 and The Wedding. Overall, I think this book falls victim to false marketing, big time. The issue alone has a lot of really solid writing that comes through in deep emotional moments, but as a landmark issue resulting in 2 years of story, it falls short. On one hand, King beautifully integrates the metaphor of Bruce and Selina's eyes as storytelling devices. On the other, the actual plot is ridden with flaws. 25 issues after Bruce proposed to Selina, King had pretty much already established the plans to a ceremony were in the works and that Clark would likely be the best man. As much as I absolutely loved the scene between Bruce and Alfred, it had to step on not only Tom King's own work, but Tim Seeley's in the Wedding Prelude issues that most of us spent a good $20 on. In the prelude, Selina and Bruce even have bachelorette and bachelor parties, meaning that a ceremony was likely already in the works, but all of a sudden they just randomly decide to have it on a rooftop? That in itself is problematic. You're telling me that billionaire Bruce Wayne, nor Batman, knows anyone that could wed them in secret? Even if we were to go through with the whole random wedding at dawn, you're telling me Alfred couldn't even get ordained? Because it makes sense to dangle Batman's secret identity over alcoholism. Having said that, I don't quite get the point of getting the Bat family's perspective in the wedding one-shots. Literally none of them were invited, not even Batman's own son. I just don't get it. Honestly, I'm not even mad that they didn't get married. I get it. Tom King is in it for the long game of a supposed 100-issue run. Really long-form storytelling. That's fine. But on top of everything I just said, haven't we already established that Bruce would have given up being Batman to be with Selina? So the mastermind Bane, in all of his infinite wisdom, stopping the wedding from happening, wouldn't it fuel Bruce's loneliness and therefore make Batman more aggressive in stopping whatever Bane has planned next? If my woman walked out on me at the altar, you better bet your ass I'd be pissed. And you know, for the sake of pride, Bane is gonna let Batman know that at some point it was him who caused the whole thing to fall to dust. I'm sorry, I wouldn't want to mess with Batman any day of the week, especially not a heartbroken and desperate one. Moving on to the artwork, it was done by mostly top tier artists with cover quality images for pages. There were a couple pages of art where I really didn't catch an eye for it in the best way, but there were also some really fantastic illustrations by guys like Jason Fabok, Becky Cloonan, and Greg Capullo, amongst others. The main artist, Mikel Janin, or Janin, sorry, big fan, don't quite know how to pronounce your last name, is also top notch at setting the scenes on every page he does. I would have really liked to see a change in the status quo for Batman and Catwoman being married, but in truth that's not really why this issue falls short for me. King does have definable flaws in the writing that turned what could have been a stellar issue into a mediocre one, but the massive promotion by DC cheapened the idea and celebration of Batman ever getting married again. The book had stellar exposition on what the two characters meant to one another and that fantastic scene between Bruce and Alfred, but even that really couldn't save the issue for me. I'm gonna have to give this one a 5 out of 10. Ultimately, there was a lot in this issue that made no sense to me whatsoever. In no way can I say that the book didn't have its share of great moments, but it's all overshadowed by a bunch of inconsistencies in writing and a few of the guest artists. Those are my thoughts on Batman issue 50. If you want to read it for yourself, feel free to do it, form your own ideas, everyone has their own opinions, but this one wasn't quite for me. If you want to pick it up, feel free to check it down in the description below. There's a link that'll take you directly to Amazon to buy it physically or digitally. Otherwise, go support your local comic book shop and pick it up there. Alright guys, that's it for today's episode of Comics Pull List. I hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of the big Batman wedding issue. If you want to read it for yourself, the links to grab it from Amazon will be in the description below. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and share the video to help us grow. If you have any suggestions for future episodes, or just want to give your thoughts, leave it down in the comments for me. Otherwise, let's just chat comics and all things geek. Catch you guys on the next episode from Dark Knight Nation.